name's Madeline, and this is Mattis. So James and I adopted Mattis from our friends. And we knew going into it when we took him that he's a 6-year-old, so there was a lot of habits that were already in him. And so when we first got him, the few things we noticed that we really wanted to fix was, one, every time the mailman or a stranger would come to the door, he would go catapulting and kind of missile launch himself into the front door, and we definitely wanted to stop that behavior. The second thing was he's not great around other dogs. He would bark or yip if a new dog was too close to us or, trying to play with him. I don't think he understood what playing was. And just listening to simple commands. So we could do sit, but it was only if a treat was involved, and he would sit and pop back up right after the fact. So it was really those 3 things that we wanted to work on from the behavioral side, and that's why we first engaged Tiffany. So what I found really helpful when we first reached out to Tiffany was she did a one-on-one virtual consultation with us where we showed her Mattis and some of the things he could do and some things he couldn't do. And she really broke down what her training process would look like. So there were no how is this gonna go or questions in my mind before we formally hired her and put down the deposit. Once we did that, we set a date. It was about a month later. It was perfect because we were moving into a new house. And we set a date where she would come 2 weeks in a row for about an hour and a half session with us. And right from the get-go, she's just super nice, super engaging, and super calming, which as a first-time dog owner, and then second, a first-time being trained dog owner, I definitely needed the support and to know that the person I was going to be trained by, not only my dog was getting trained, I was getting trained, but that she would be able to make me feel confident and answer any questions I had about both the process and then when we were actually in the training. So training started without any tools, but in advance of starting training, she sent over all the things we should get, which was a prong collar, an e-collar, a condo, as she called it, which is really a crate, and a place board. So we had all of that in advance, and we started off the first couple of sessions, her just getting to know Mattis and myself and what he could and couldn't do and where his trouble spots were. So this was all without the use of tools, except for every day we would have to put him in his condo. So after a couple days without any of the tools, she introduced the prong collar and the e-collar. And I have to tell you, in advance of training, I would see other dogs with them on, or I would think about it, and without, investigating or understanding it at all, I just thought it looked so scary and intimidating. And honestly, I was a little bit nervous about, moving forward with those tools, but my husband was totally on board, and Tiffany walked me through not only why we use them, but also all the details around how you turn it on, how you charge it, etc. And I think with the proper application, the proper training, this is so important to give freedom to your dog, is what she taught us, in that we can speak to him even if he's off leash with just the e-collar, or if he's on leash with the prong collar. We have a mechanism and a means of communication to really stop him in his tracks before he starts missile launching into the door, or call him back from a situation we might not want him in, or tell him to leave something. And so really she gave us the tools, the tips, and really the confidence, especially to me, to be able to master those skills and show Mattis that I'm in charge and I can communicate with him, whether he is sitting in my lap or he is off running with other dogs. There's a way, and he likes it because there's a way for him to come back to the safe space that is myself and James and our house. To end our 2-week training session, we even took Mattis out on some field trips, we called them. We took him to a big park. We took him to a dog-friendly bar. And this was a way to make sure that we had those tools, not just in the safety and security of our home, but really out in public. And even then and now, even more so, he is just thriving, and our relationship with him is so much better than it was prior to having Tiffany come over, because we know how to communicate and we know how to change his actions in a way that isn't overwhelming for us and us just yelling at him and getting no reaction back. Instead, she actually taught us what to do, how to do it effectively and properly, and it's really working. So she has completely exceeded our expectations. Mattis loves his fairy dog mother, and if you're really out there and sitting in the position we were in a couple weeks back, I would highly, highly recommend looking into a trainer and looking into Tiffany, because She knows best what to do. You might not, and it will completely change your life. Not just, the moments where the dog was going crazy and you really were able to pull him back in, but just the day-to-day interactions where our relationship is so much closer because he knows that I'm going to reward him, but I'm also going to communicate with him when something goes astray, and he feels so much safer with us. So thank you, Tiffany from MATTIS, from the Gallaghers. Thank you.